Hi, this is Neil Friedman from Northampton Nutrition Centre, and I just want to do a short video blog on stress, and really want to talk about the differences between physical stress and mental stress. And really the point I'm trying to make is that there are no differences between the two. Our physiological response to stress is exactly the same, irrespective of whether that stress caused by us because of our personal relationship, because of something happening at work, or because we were in the gym and we've just done a personal best in squats. We're going to have the same physiological response to those stresses. The only difference between the two is that with a physical stress, potentially, we've given some of the stress an outlet. All right. So if we just think about the origins of stress, we go back to the days when we were living in caves. If we were out walking through the veldt somewhere and suddenly got confronted by a predator, we're going to have a stress response. So effectively, our body's going to respond to the threat to our lives, and the stress response is going to be designed to give us the ability to, the fight or flight response. So, everything gets pumped up. All our blood flow gets pushed through to our muscles. So that our body has the physical capacity. There's a release of cortisol into our system. There's the upsurge in adrenaline, and we're going to respond to that. So if we go for the flight option in this particular case, we then use up a lot of what's been given, a lot of that extra energy created by that stress in our flight response. However, once we've done that, there is a recovery period required before our bodies can do that again. If we were to come up across the same predator, maybe a minute later, and we try to flee again, we might get caught the second time round because our body hasn't had a chance to recover. Our central nervous system, as well as our muscular response, hasn't had a chance to recover. That differs slightly, as I said, from emotional stress or mental stress, where we build up all that energy store to have our flight or freeze, flight, fright or freeze. I'll try that again. Flight, fight or freeze response. But we don't actually get to respond to that, so we end up sitting and stewing effectively. So the boss comes and says or does something that puts a huge amount of stress on us and increases our workload, and we were planning on going home and being home with the family at a certain time, and now we can't for whatever the reasons are. But we can't respond to that. So that's the only difference between the two. In both cases, we get the same build-up, the same hormonal response. In the one case, though, we get a physical outlet for it, but that does exhaust us. Whereas in the second one, in the mental stress, we sit and we stew, and we don't actually have an outlet for those, and we have that hormonal response has a different effect on us. All right. So the point that I'm trying to make is that when we take some time off and when we de-stress, we need to de-stress the entire system. Our entire sympathetic nervous system needs to be given a time to disengage, and what we want to try and do is engage the parasympathetic nervous system in order to calm us down and de-stress us. So really the point of this message then is, over this Christmas period, a lot of people will take the time off work, they'll de-stress in that situation, but they may then decide to use the extra time going into the gym and really pushing the weights really hard. They probably find that you'll be able to maybe push the weights a little bit harder than you have been because you're going into the gym in a slightly de-stressed situation, because you aren't carrying your personal work stress with you into the gym. So remember, that takes an effect. Sometimes that feeling when yesterday you bench pressed 120 kilograms and 4 days later you're back in the gym and suddenly 100 kilograms just seems too heavy to lift off the rack. And you want to know, how did I do that 3 days ago? How did I bench press 120 and now I can't lift up 100? Think about the other factors in your life that may have caused some stress between those 3 days. The 120 kilogram lift, if that was close to a personal best or maximal effort 3 days ago, your muscles might have recovered from that, but your sympathetic nervous system or your nervous system response might not have fully recovered from that. But also think about the other stresses in your life. Maybe you've had a really stressful day at work. That's going to impact and that's going to affect your ability, because you've had that stressor at work, and that's going to affect your ability to re-stress yourself now in the gym. And it does work the other way. You know, sometimes you may find that you have a busy day at work planned, going into the gym beforehand and trying to do a series of personal bests or really take yourself to your limit might not be the best thing to do on that day, because you're then giving yourself this physiological stress response from your activities in the gym, and then you're going to carry that response into a highly stressful day at work, and that stress level is going to accumulate, and you're going to take a lot more strain than if you'd maybe done a lighter session in the gym. So that's really the message that I wanted to get across, is this indistinction, if you like, between physical and mental stress. And really my recommendation is, if you're taking the time off now between Christmas and New Year away from work to de-stress, it's also maybe a good idea to take a little bit of time off away from the gym, or do rather light workouts. Don't put yourself through stress. Let your body go through a complete de-stressing period, and then engage in those activities at home that, as I say, engage the parasympathetic nervous system, things that help you relax, slow down your heartbeat, being with family, being with friends, and just giving yourself a de-stress time. You'll find that when you go back to work in January and back into the gym, you'll be able to do things so much better. You push harder in the gym, engage in your work activities in a de-stress manner, and really take advantage of the time off. So if you're going to de-stress properly. Relax exercise-wise and gym-wise. Relax from the mental process and the mental stresses of work. Take it all off and enjoy yourself, and come back and get stronger again in January. That's the message that I wanted to put into this video. Hope everybody has had a very Merry Christmas, and I hope you have a fantastic New Year. And I'll be putting out my next video blog on a different subject early on in the new year. Thank you very much for listening. It's been Neil Friedman from Northampton Nutrition Centre. Goodbye.